Good morning. Just a very quick video just to stipulate what we need to do as traders. We need to obviously identify the trend before we look to buy or sell, because you don't really want to be doing what the retail guys do, and they basically do the opposite of what you should do. They are very counter trend normally, and they'll hold on to the losses, and they'll hold on to a bias as well, which I'll show you in the Euro USD. Now so what we need to do is primarily identify the trend, avoid the sideways nonsense, and then you're looking for the sentiment to add to that bias. This is what we'll do in the QuasiDB service. So basically, let's identify the trend, and then we're going to look to add the sentiment on top. So let's look at the Euro USD. You can see how we're clearly in a downtrend back here, starting from July to October. And we can draw a channel, and we can do an equidistant channel. That's fine. I knew that I was going to do that. MetaTrader 4 is quite frustrating, I will admit. So let's put that there, and we can drag that down, and we can see how that kind of maps those lows, right? So we're clearly in a downtrend. That's fine, and so we've done quite well in that. So identify the trend. That's really important, and you're going to add sentiment on top. Now, what will happen if you scroll right? We've actually broken this down channel, and then you're looking for dips to buy because we've broken this channel. Okay, so let's add a second thing that I like to do. I like to use channels, and I also like to use pitchforks as well. So the pitchfork's very important because the first click of the button has to be the anchor. It's the very bottom, the swing low or the swing high. So we know that's going to be the low, and then we're going to map the top of the pitchfork, and we're going to map the bottom, and we can see how we're tracking the upper. It's actually a resistance, but it's actually turned into a support. Okay, so what you're looking to do, you can look for buy opportunities at resistance / support, or you're looking for buys at the median line, or you're looking for buys at the lower line. But what's happening is that you're looking for buys. Alright, that's the key, because we're in an uptrend. Because a lot of people will be fighting this, and you could be undergoing a little bit of losses because you'll be fighting that trend. I mean, we could probably argue we've actually exceeded it a little bit. We should be tracking within the median line and the upper resistance, or the median line and the lower support. So we should see price hug the median line. Okay, so basically you're looking for dips to buy. Let's add the ratios. Indicators, custom ratios. That's fine. We can change that to 1 year. And we can take these guys off. And so what we can see how they were long this whole time. So we'd fallen. Oops, I didn't want to do that. So we can see how they were long, and then they started to sort of give up around about the bottom. Funny enough, you can see how it's like starting to change, selling it, they're starting to sell it, sold it in a big way, but then they went long, so we saw that big reaction down to the median line, and then they sold it, they went long again, so we fell, and then they sold it, so we came up. And it's very turbulent, this particular pair, because it's very liquid, and they sold it again. So what you're looking for are essentially, you're looking for a break of the trend from a technical perspective, and then you're looking for the sentiment to agree. So if we're looking for buys, then you're looking for the crossover here, this one here. Okay, because we know that we're in an uptrend now because we've broken this downtrend, and you're looking for a buy opportunity here. So 106.22, there's 140 pips on offer on that crossover because we've broken that trend. Okay, and then you're looking for the next time they sell it. Well, you could probably argue they did it here, but then also they changed their mind quite quickly. But this would have been a better one here, the 50% crossover, and here-ish, not much drawdown. To be honest, that would have been a good risk to reward. It's like 20 pip stop, and that would have been a 200, about 190 pip profit. So you're looking for the 50% crossover, and then before obviously using the ratios, you're looking at the technicals. So how else can we identify the trend without channels and pitchforks? Well, it's simply a case of looking at in a downtrend you're making lower lows, and in an uptrend you're making higher lows. So which is what we did here. This was a little bit naughty. This could have been like a ruse. That move there, that looks a little bit naughty, so that could have been like a stop hunt. I think there probably would have been an SLC there, but we can see how we're making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, and just so you know, we are a little bit extreme on the Euro USD, and we could potentially come down to the pitchfork upper. I'd be probably a bit more confident about buying that on the median line, but I'm not sure if we're going to get down there, to be fair. If you look at the Dixie, we're actually quite weak on the daily. So there's two ways to identify the trend on a sort of instrument perspective. You've got your channel and you've got your pitchfork, and you can do it by eye when you can just see that we're making lower highs or higher lows, higher highs, for example, and then you try and get the sentiment to agree with that setup. So right now we're not going to get a 50% crossover because we've crossed it in the past, and that was the move there. Okay, so what we're going to probably want to do is wait for this to retrace to this upper resistance. With any luck, they'll go above the 50%, and then we'll get the buy opportunity as it comes down and crosses the 50%, and then that's what we'll do. So get your trend analysis, you know, get good at that, and then you can add the ratios on top, and then you can get some good opportunities there. So just to recap, is that you've got to you have to take trades in the direction of the trend, and you're not going to pick tops or bottoms. In other words, if the trend is bullish and the sentiment is short, this is what I was saying about the 50% crossover, you're looking for buys. Okay, and of course we are in a bullish trend now, and if the trend is bearish and the sentiment is long, you're looking for sell opportunities. So back here, see how they've gone long? They crossed the 50% line. We saw we were in a downtrend quite clearly, and they went long here. So let's have a look at here. So this would have been the 50% crossover, knowing that we were in a downtrend, and you know, 250 pips. You might not have wanted to stop there. You might have held on. You might have held on, and you did incredibly well. That would have been a fantastic trade. That's the 50% crossover to the upside, knowing that we were already in a downtrend. Okay, so that's how you use it. You're looking for 50% crossovers, but before you use the sentiment, you're going to look at your technicals. And you can see how clearly on the H4 it started to look a bit heavy, and then when you wait for them to go long, and then you're going to enter, you could have had a good tight stop as well, and down we come. So that's the crossover to the upside in a downtrend. And then you could argue we've had quite a few here, but I suppose the one really of note was here, and that's the crossover to the upside, the crossover to the downside in an uptrend. Right, so that's it. So identify the trend, get the crossover, and then identify the trend and get the crossover. Admittedly we chopped quite a bit here, but inevitably they did sell it in quite a big way. Yeah, huge move. I mean, you could have like let your profits run, and that would have been a 267 pip move. So that's how you do it. So identify your trend using your channels, or by eye, or by pitchfork. And then once you've got good at the trend analysis, then you're going to be using the sentiment, and also avoid the sideways chop as well. So you know, it was slightly choppy and sideways here. Can you see we chopped around a bit? So we made that lower low here, which is a bit naughty, but you could maybe argue you wanted to come down to support, maybe, and that's why that was a little bit naughty. So we made a lower low there. So I think SLC was probably there, and then we used that to launch from. So that's it. So that's today's video about trend analysis. Once you've got good at the technicals, you can add sentiment on top. I wholeheartedly recommend FXSSI.com and their indicators for MetaTrader 4 and 5. It's a 7-day free trial, so do have a look. There's no credit card required. You might be lacking in some sentiment awareness, analysis, and it does complement technical and fundamentals very well. Especially if you're very technical, you could be missing out on some sentiment, or if you're particularly fundamental, you could be missing out on some sentiment. This is like a sweet zone. It complements both, and it gives you a very strong bias about direction as well. So technicals are great for direction, fundamentals are great for direction, but the sentiment sits in between. Okay, and so perhaps if you're missing out on some sentiment awareness, these are the best indicators in existence in the world for that. And then you can have a look at this. You've got a 7-day free trial, and you've got your order book, and you've got your indicators, including the ratios, which are amazing. Just look at my videos on my YouTube channel and you can see how powerful the ratios are. And you can have a look. Just take your time. You've got 7 days to trial them, and if you don't like them, then that's fair enough. You don't have to renew, but we do have a code if you want to, and it's just the QuasiDB code, and it gives you a 10% discount, and that's it. So have a look, see what you think, and like I said, it's a 7-day trial, so you don't have to renew, but I think you'll probably find you will renew afterwards, because the order book and the ratios and the stop loss clusters as well are amazing. The stop loss clusters are great because you know where to target. Okay, so that's where you take profit, where people get stopped out. Okay, and that's it. So just a quick plug for the FXSSI.com, and enjoy your day.